up, you guys? My name is Wolf, and welcome back to LEGO Arts. So in the last episode, we did a showcase on Captain Marvel, and just in time for Avengers Endgame, so now we're all set in for that. And for this episode, I wanted to keep it that female superhero vibe going, so I decided to go back. So recently, last night, I decided to go back to like one of my old minifigures I did a couple of years ago, and sort of remodify it. So here we now have a new version of LEGO Wonder Woman. This has to be one of my favorite DC minifigures to have built. And one of the reasons why is because, for starters, the movie itself was amazing. I really liked it. And this minifigure was one of the more simple ones that I had to do. It wasn't too overly complicated. It didn't require a lot of work, aside from like the sword and a couple of painting. So it just turned out pretty good, and I'm really glad it came out. So I decided to do this for another reason, is that since showcases have been going in kind of slow since I've been busy with a bunch of other stuff, I still wanted to do something for LEGO Arts, and I didn't want to like delay the series any further than it already had been to complete some of the other showcases. So with the little free time I had, I decided to grab a minifigure and see if I can remaster it, improve upon it, and who better than one of DC's most awesome superheroes ever? So, as you guys know the drill, well, if we remember it, let's say we remember. Yes! As we all know, we're gonna take this minifigure and do a review on it, and explain the process of why I went with this route, and then go from there. So, without further ado, let's get the pedestal out and get the showcase on the road. So, when looking at this minifigure, it definitely brings back a couple of memories of when customizing it. I got this, after I went to a brick fair, like a brick con a few years ago. And it was actually funny, because I found this, in a set at BrickCon, but it was for, $90, and I knew the official one was a little bit cheaper, so afterwards I went to the LEGO store, and I found it, and it was just like, this is much cheaper, so I prefer this. So nowadays, if I wanted something like this, I'd probably just focus on the minifigure and nothing really else. But my main focus with this minifigure is that since the rest of the body was already pretty much made, I wanted to focus on some of the minor detailing. And back then, I added some brown, and the bracelets. I liked it how LEGO included in the detailing on the sidearms, because they rarely do stuff like that. But I wanted the full bracelet all around. So at first, I thought they were just brown, but last night when I took another look at the figure, like some other customs that people have made, I realized I gotta make a few changes. So I added in some of the silver for that. And that same thing back here. The boots were kind of untouched, but I definitely changed them up a little bit. It started out for where they were just simply red, and they had gold lining on the top. But I wanted to match up more to the character, and then when I got a clear image as to what the boots looked like, I took some of my gold paint, and did some of the detailing work over here. I didn't do too much of it because I didn't want to overpaint something or accidentally mess anything up, because that has happened in the past. But once I got that out of the way, I then focused on some of the more impressive detailing, and it's just some of the more important stuff, detailing some of the metal plating, and also with the bracelets. So it came out pretty good. I do like the shields of the shield that this came out. I kind of prefer this more than the other shield. The other shield, it's kind of cool with the printing and everything. But with this one, I thought this one looked much cooler, and plus it gave me a couple of reminders of Injustice for some reason. So I wanted to keep with that up. There's some detailing work on the back, if any of you remember. She's got at a scab, and she's got a holder for the sword here, which I kind of wished that there was a way that I could put the sword on here while also having the hairpiece on. She's also got another face, her calm face, and then her aggressive Amazon warrior face. I prefer either or. They both stand out pretty good. And I think this was the first minifigure to introduce this kind of hairpiece, to introduce this one, which I actually prefer much more than the classic Wonder Woman, of how the tiara's three-dimensional and it's on the hairpiece. It's cool, but I like this version much better. her sword definitely changed. Like, when I first got this figure, the one thing I hated about it was the sword, because I thought it was just too small. Too small. It was like something that's one of the hobbits from Lord of the Rings would wield, and it's just like, this is not a proper Amazon sword. So the sword itself actually went through a couple of phases. Like, the first one was just like the simple knight sword. The second one, I tried to make my own custom hilt to it. It looks super weird. Oh, weird. And then the third version was this. As for, I tried to make it more accurate to like the one in the Wonder Woman movie. It's not exactly looking like it, but at the time it was. It just gives out the basic idea of this figure. So I'm pretty proud of this figure. Again, I really like this figure for the movie, and also because Wonder Woman's my favorite and one of my favorite heroes in general. I think the one thing I would totally want to do, if I can ever figure out how exactly I could do it, is that I would love to put a holder for the back, and that way you can put like the sword in its sheath, and so that way she can carry it on her back, like in the actual movies, and also make the hairpiece like removable, so that way it's not directly on the hairpiece, it's on the back. If I could figure out exactly how I could do that one day, I would totally want to try that out. But for now, this is like the final design for Wonder Woman, and I'm pretty glad how this came out. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up and talking about like why I've been kind of absent in this series lately. So that does it for this episode of LEGO Arts. I know this one isn't as super creative as some of the other projects that I've done, but this one didn't really require a lot. This was mainly of me just going back, making a couple of changes, improving upon it, and I'm planning to do that to the rest of my DC minifigures, because there's a lot that's now looking back at it, I feel like I can improve upon it. And if you're wondering like why haven't I been back in LEGO Arts for quite a while, I mentioned it when I did the KH2 live stream against the data bosses. It's that lately I've been busy with other Let's Plays, and as well as I've been busy with college work. I'm in my final project for the semester, so that's been taking up a bit of time, because it's not very easy. I won't go into the full details of it, but let's just say I'm finally getting a solid on it, and that's been difficult. And the showcases that I've been working on have been taking a lot longer than I expected to do. Like, I just finished Kratos last night for God of War, and also started on the base for Atreus. So I'm in the halfway margin for God of War, and hopefully that'll be done as soon as possible. Same thing with Overwatch. I'm almost finished with Jesse McCree. I make a couple of modifications, as well as Hanzo. A little bit with Tracer, but there are a couple of things I want to change about that. So Overwatch has been going a bit slower than I'd like it to be. But I am getting it done. I'm not slacking off, in case you're wondering about that. And hopefully those be done soon. But on the plus side, I finally cracked it. I finally made a breakthrough with the LEGO trench coats, like all the fabrics and stuff. If you guys haven't seen on my Instagram, I finally made a breakthrough in trench coats. So now, not only did I get like the correct size for like how I want them to appear, but I also found a way to make it for where the minifigure can move their arms. So I made changes to my Marcus minifigure, and I also made changes to my Kirito and Sinal minifigures. So from now on, I know exactly what I need to do to get the perfect trench coat size. So that way, the minifigure can wear it, and they can move their arms and legs through it. Alright, so I am glad about that, and expect more minifigures like that in the future for the series. Anyways, so again, I'm sorry that LEGO Arts has been going slow. I promise I'll get new minifigures for you guys in the future as soon as I possibly can. Again, I'm not giving up. That is the last thing I plan to do for this series. So, if you guys want to see me do more minifigures like this in the future, and if you want to see like God of War and Overwatch and other showcases to come in for the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. It really helps us work on Let's Plays, LEGO projects, or mainly here to have some fun. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share it with your friends, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and here's how for the road. Ow! Woo! thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. What do you guys, Moon Rises?